In episodes 1 and 2, you were able to walk with us through the beginning stages of this incredible dream and into the stress of whether or not this was even going to happen.
If you thought that was going to be all the drama that was going to happen when trying to complete such a grandiose task, then let me assure you that you thought wrong. Here in episode 3, we begin the hunt for the beast that will pull our monstrous spacecraft, and we can promise you that it was no easy task.
It's time for a change. You can't grow by staying the same. It's our contribution for this revolution building community. It's just one step closer to where we're meant to be. It's not just a way of life, it's a family.
Now the question you're asking yourself, because this is what I would be asking too, is how are we going to tow this thing?
It's a big beast.
Thanks, dear. It's big.
It's big.
It's like when we started our first journey trying to figure out how to tow, and I messed that all up the first night.
And that was only 43 feet.
Yeah, but why are you like, yeah, there's a little apprehension getting ready to happen. Goodness.
I'm here to support.
Yeah, 54 feet.
Yeah.
And we have to kind of back up to how we even got to the HDT. If you don't know what an HDT is, that's a heavy duty truck, otherwise known as a tractor or a semi-truck, whatever you want to say for the RV life experience.
Yeah, I think for most of us, I just look at it as it's a semi.
Yeah, I never knew it as an HDT, but I do now.
Yes.
So all of these things are piling in our head, right? We just put down the deposit and we've headed down to Tampa to go to the show.
To the RV show, yes.
And we really enjoyed it. We had all these crazy things happen. We did a dance off and all kinds of crazy stuff. After the show, we're left with all these questions because again, we ran into Greg. We went through that whole RV with all the solar. We enjoyed our time. And then we went to Margaritaville to kind of figure out what the year's gonna plan out to be.
Yeah, and well, I also believe we were in Margaritaville because we were getting ready to do an event.
Oh, that's right.
But what was cool was after that, either before or after the event was over, we got to meet Rob.
Yeah.
And
which was hilarious because I didn't want to shoot video.
Yes.
I was totally tapped out. Sheila's like, get the GoPro. Rob's out here. We're gonna go do a video and check out his truck if we're gonna look at this thing.
Yeah, so we needed to take a look at it. We needed to see what our options were, but you must agree that was a blessing.
It was.
Because Rob showed us all around his truck and then you got to drive it.
What is your first thoughts?
It's huge. That's my first thought.
Is that your first thought?
My first thought.
It's pretty darn big.
It's big.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
So Rob has said he's going to take us to look at some stuff. This is crazy, Rob. It's massive.
It's massive. What's your total length?
37.
Of this plus then your rig?
No,
Yeah,
78.
the rig, 77 total. And you think the axles are on there, the chassis on there, cab is on there, the seat you're sitting is on there. So all those sudden, where the road meets the bridge, those sudden, one of those, it's just, and then the hitch is on there. Did you see the hitch?
No, we were.
So then that helps cushion your, what's going on in the
Oh my!
rig,
Yeah, the trailer doesn't feel that sudden, you know, like that earthquake shake.
Right.
So you have two airbags here that, you know, when the pin is here, plus shock absorbers. And then on the fifth wheel, I got that MORryde pin box.
Right.
And then underneath the fifth wheel, I have the MORryde independent suspension.
Oh, it's like gliding on air.
Yeah. So
I mean, you got to get used, if you're going to do something like this, you got to climb the ladder.
Oh my goodness sakes.
come on in.
There's room for both of us. I'm gonna sit back here with Willie.
That's Steve.
Oh, Steve.
That's Skeleton Steve. He's been hanging out. He's my security guard.
He's got a pretty good
Wow.
job. I had no idea there was this much room back here.
Right? And then here you have hang-up storage in there. Down here you have more storage. Up here, guess what? More storage. Storage across the front, the side. And this is my favorite side when I'm driving because you open here, you have a fridge and a freezer, which obviously it's empty, but. And then you got drawers. And look at the construction of this. I mean, these Volvos are built amazingly well. And up here,
there's your microwave.
Got some microwave and storage, shelving of whatever. And let's say Todd's tired. We just bring this baby down, and we got a double bed up top. And check this out. You didn't even notice this, but you do this little Velcro, and then even look at this attention to detail in the floor.
What is that?
This goes.
It's your ladder?
It's a ladder, and this hooks on the bed, and it's rock solid. And when it goes up, you don't even see it. It's right there. You Velcro it. You push this up like this, and now you're back to max.
So what it
headroom.
makes me think of is like if we were going to Cracker Barrel,
That's what I was just
we wouldn't have to like just spend the night in like a parking lot. If we're going somewhere, you just come back, get out, just stay here for the night.
You don't have to.
No, grab some food, make a sandwich, watch a little TV, put the bed down, go to sleep, wake up, and then we hit the road again.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun.
My brain hurt.
My brain hurts too. There's so many things that we never thought of. And we did a video with Sweet Travels. He answered a lot, but that
Yeah, just a
new level.
just another whole. It's just a lot. It always. I say it all the time. We just didn't know what we didn't know when we were starting. You just learn as you go, and you figure out, oh, that might work better for us.
We didn't think about the insurance could be cheaper. We didn't think about the maintenance stuff.
The rig as a whole is cheaper.
Rig is cheaper. So, and it looks massive, but honestly, it's probably, well, I mean, his is huge because it's extended, but an average one is probably like 3 or 4 feet longer than our Ram. So that's not even like a deal.
The safety component and just the ability to see and the ride. Oh my gosh, the ride is just, I mean, we didn't ride in Jim and Kelly's.
No.
So going for a ride, I don't know.
Good luck with all that.
I think the key component here is when we were trying to figure all this out, like we had already made the commitment. Now we're to this stage, and it's like God said, okay, now let's figure out this other thing that you're worried about. We get a vision of what a truck can be. And then I'm driving it, and you're like, well, what do you think? And I'm like, well, actually, this is pretty easy to drive. And then he was like, okay, I gotta make a stop. And he stops to talk to Jessie. So this is how we met Jessie. Was like a door opened, and we were able to go to his shop to talk to him and see
All the
everything.
while, none of them knew that we were even thinking about and going down this direction, but we were just observing and gathering research and data for us to make a decision.
We met Ken Kaplan, who has a YouTube channel. He had his truck there, and they were working on a lift to put a motorcycle on. We're like, okay, this is pretty cool.
So this is a really good idea. So we're thinking we would actually take this hydraulic system that we can put on so we can pull the motorcycle off. It goes down under the ground, and then it'll go back up. Then we would have just enough room. We wouldn't have this extension, but just enough room that we could actually tow. So we don't need a massive, and he still went with single wheel to make it drive better. So this is another great setup that's being built here.
So the doors and the wheels were spinning, and that also, at the end of that time, we were like, okay, what about doing a sound system and stuff? And we had conversations during that time too. It was like all these little check boxes were happening.
It was just a plethora of people there that had that skills and expertise for all the things that were in our mind, that we just were kind of having confirmations of, okay, you can do this and you can do that and you could do this. Options. I like options.
Yeah, she's like a 10 option person, and then I have to figure out which one. I was like, I don't know if I like this one or that one. So we wrapped up hanging out at 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏. And now I think my mind was spinning as like, okay, confirmation after confirmation, there's another confirmation. But quite honestly, all that was a confirmation. We did not think about the HDT. We were so focused on the plans from that point for quite a while.
Yeah, that probably takes the largest amount of time. I think it takes more time to plan the whole thing out than it does to actually build it.
Yeah, it's crazy. That is probably true when I'm thinking about this process. Now you flash forward to May, and now we are having discussions like, it's May. Like, if Jesse's going to do this thing, we actually have to look at getting a truck. We have to figure out how to get it to Tampa. So now the heat is on. Like, we've got to go down this path to start looking for trucks.
Well, I will say, when we were driving, when you're driving the road, you just kind of start looking at things, and you're like, oh, look at that one. You look at that one. Because I was like, ooh, I like the way that one looks. I'm just all about looks. I like the way that one looks. I like the way the fenders are. But then you started looking at truck papers and
all the
different forums on Facebook and that sort of thing, of where, like, we needed to learn a lot about a HDT.
Yeah, so when we came back, we were home for a little bit. We found a Volvo, because it seems like everyone has a Volvo. Yep. So we ran just to go look at a Volvo. The sales guy was new, so he didn't even have a lot of the information. So it left us with more questions. This is the one that was on
Facebook?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh, it's very clean inside.
Oh, yeah. Every single one of them, man. We always get them taken care of.
I was looking, trying to figure out all the seat belts. Like, why is there seat belts hanging from the ceiling?
To be honest, I wouldn't be able to tell you that. That's something I haven't looked into.
But we got to sit in one and kind of figure things out. And sitting in that, we realized right away, a lot of these trucks are lived in.
Yes.
And a lot of them are going to you got to look for one that somebody actually cared about. And that became like paramount, because it didn't matter which brand of truck we went with. It came down to, we still wanted something nice in the interior.
Okay, to me, 100,000 miles is a lot of miles on my car, right?
Yeah.
But I just had to realize that, okay, 100,000 miles on an HDT is nothing.
Right.
So that opened up my mind to being willing to look at more options.
Yeah, so that first experience, it was just like wetting a whistle, as they would say back in the day. And now it was like, okay, we started looking around. You like my analogies, I know you do. And we stumbled upon, we looked at Kenworth, and you start learning that Peterbilts are a lot of money even when they're used. You start learning all of the different nuances of trucks. But then we were going down the road and we saw a Mack.
Never really had seen a Mack. But then again, I never had really paid attention before.
Yeah.
But yes, I liked the fender lines of that Mack.
Yes. So we started doing research looking for Macks, and I couldn't find one anywhere. And we ended up finding something at, is it Bruckner or Bruck something down in Oklahoma?
Buckner, I think.
Buckner?
Uh-huh.
And so we find this truck, and they had two, and they were like sister trucks from some small mom and pop organization. They traded them in. They had about 490,000 miles on them. And I was like, oh, this is great. It's in the price range. It was around that $65,000 range. And I'm like, okay, this is great. Mileage is great. The interior looks clean. We actually had somebody go by and take pictures and do a walkthrough on it. And you're learning all the different nuances. But then I learned that Mack's actually owned by Volvo. And I didn't know that. So it's kind of like this weird little nuance. So you're back into the Volvo world in a roundabout way, which was great, right? Why are you laughing at me?
Nuance is your new word for the day. It's the nuances.
Well,
there's so many nuances.
There's so many nuances. So we call, and I'm on the phone, I'm talking to the guy, and he goes, hey, well, that one, your interest is already gone. I was like, it's only been on here for like 24 hours. He goes, yeah, they go fast. And I go, well, I'm not quite sure. I have a lot of questions. He goes, well, you better make up your mind. It won't be around long. So we get off the phone, we call some people, and I call back the next morning. Yeah, it's gone too. It's got a deposit on it. I was pretty disappointed.
You were pretty defeated that day. I remember that. It was like you'd all your research, you'd finally come to make a decision, and we just didn't move on it fast enough because it's a
purchase you're not familiar with.
Yes, it's not something that you're, well, and it's a lot of money, right? And it's just
it's less than our current truck, but yeah.
Fair. Very fair. But that one we did a lot of research on as well. I think that's just the thing. You got to learn. It's always a new thing to learn. But yes, you were defeated. So back to the drawing board we went.
Oh, that was so brutal. What happens I get back online, I'm looking, what do you think of this one, what do you think of that one? We're searching all across the United States, could not find another truck
because it needed to be black, or well, we were probably thinking we're going to possibly need to change the look of it to wrap it or something, so it couldn't be red, it couldn't be blue or orange, like it needed to be black or possibly white. That's about it.
And we really liked the lines and the looks.
Yes.
So I was supremely disappointed. And so about, I'd say almost 4 weeks go by, and it was a Sunday afternoon. I was like, man, I ought to call that guy. Maybe he got something else in or whatever.
Maybe tell him what you're looking for and he can be on the look.
And then Monday morning, the phone rings. My cell phone rings, and I'm like, I don't, it says Oklahoma. So I pick it up and I'm going, yeah. And he goes, hey, I know you were looking at this truck a while back. All the financing fell through for the guy. This is the one we want, and this is the one that we have, and this is the one you said you wanted. Are you still interested? I called you first. I said, yes. What do I need to do? She's like in the bathroom. She's like, what are you doing? I said, I think we're buying a truck.
And you said, the one that I wanted. And I said, yes, just give him a deposit. We'll figure it out. So
it's $1,000.
Yep.
And he was like, okay, you got 2 weeks to figure out financing. I was like, okay.
Okay.
But we did 1,000, and then it was like, now what do we do? Right about now, some of you are probably thinking what we're doing is absolutely insanity.
It is. But you know what's funny is they talk funny in there.
Are you still thinking Wisconsin, they talk funny?
They do.
Look up, son. Wisconsin's got great cheese.
We've made it to, is it Eau-Claire, Wisconsin?
No, we're somewhere between there and there.
So we are boogieing. We're 3.5 hours on the road and
Stop for breakfast.
And we're heading towards Chicago. Sheila's got this plan. So here's the plan. We're gonna get to Chicago. Hopefully all the paperwork stuff's done at the bank. Hopefully.
We'll know by the end of today.
Then we're gonna spend the night, wake up tomorrow, jump on a plane, fly to Oklahoma City, sign all the paperwork.
Well, look at the truck. See if it's really what you want first.
Yeah, we're going through a lot of effort. Then we'll sign paperwork.
Yeah.
Jump in said truck, which we've only drove the one time with Rob, and that was with...
Like around the block.
Well, I probably drove 5 miles. I mean, that makes me qualified.
Sure, you have the right driver's license.
I have a Class A, right? Because I did do that. Uh-huh. We'll drive from OKC to Kansas City.
Uh-huh.
Park it, throw the keys at Mike in his little...
Mike's garage.
Yeah, Mike, we've done videos.
Has he back on that?
Yeah, all he texted when I sent him all this information of what we're doing,
All his reply was wow with an exclamation point. Nothing else.
Well, so we're hoping that we can
just leave it there.
Leave that there for a couple weeks while
we'll fly back
to Chicago
to get the RV,
pick up Fiona, then go head to the UP where we're gonna meet up with our grandkids for a little bit and do a huddle, and then sometime you're going to have to drop me off somewhere, and then you've got to take this new HDT down to be modified
in Florida.
So you got to drive that, and I'll babysit Fiona.
So buckle up. I mean, we're getting ready to head, well, hopefully by tomorrow. We'll know today, and we'll be on a plane. This is a little insane, but that's okay. That's why you're here. That's why you're tagged along. So let's jump in and continue down the road. This is RV life switched up. Hence the name of the channel.
I'm gonna need more Advil.
Let's go. Right? It's like these little bitty things, like we bought a truck. We don't even have the RV completely finished on the
I don't even
plans.
know what the truck is going to need to look like in order to pull this. But every little step we went through, we just do the next. And that's when you're looking at a huge project like this, you just do the research, learn what you need to do for the next thing. We bought this truck while we were far, far away. And you have to use things like fax machines. We had to find a fax machine.
Oh, this is good. Okay.
Remember that?
So, yes. Okay. So here's how this goes down. We are boogieing. We just lost a tire.
Either ran over something or lost something. I saw them black.
We lost the tire.
Yeah.
We're having issues coming across. We just bought the truck, and now they're like, we need paperwork signed to do all this other stuff. And we're like, okay, but we're going to Boogie to meet the kids to go meet them at Mackinac Island. The first time we're there, we're walking around, we're getting these phone calls in, and they're like, you need to get somewhere, you need to print these off, and we need them signed. We need a wet signature. You ever do that on Mackinac Island?
Right. To print, sign, and then figure out how to get them to them.
Yep. So we had to do it at the library.
They asked for a fax. I'm like, who still faxes?
Well, this is fun. We're on Mackinac Island, hanging out. When we have to go to the library to print off documents to handle all the stuff that we're doing with this HDT.
It's difficult to be on the road and try to do business.
You didn't think this would be like part of the journey? Let's find the library on Mackinac to print documents so we can fax them.
Fun fact, Todd doesn't necessarily like libraries.
I haven't been in a library. I can't remember the last time. It's been years. So let's check out the Mackinac Island Public Library. Right here, this is where you get stuff done. You get stuff done in Mackinac on a trash can, signing papers. Because that's normal.
We now have another problem. They will hold this truck for 2 weeks.
That's it.
And it needs to be moved off of their lot.
Yeah. Yep.
And we're in Michigan.
Yep. And we had just finished the huddle, having the phone call come in, and we're moving forward on the spacecraft. And now, okay, got to open that door, got this one taken care of. We've got a truck, but now we got to figure out how to get it and get them money. It become like this, so a whole mess. Like from Michigan, we made our way down straight away to the bottom of Michigan by Chicago.
Yeah. Yes. So we could hurry up, hop on a plane, and get down to figure out how to pick up this truck.
And that was one long day.
said you're nervous.
We are 17 miles away from making a good decision or a bad one. I guess it just depends on how it is viewed. But I am nervous. Yes, I am absolutely nervous.
Well, when we get there, it might not be the one.
It's a big commitment to do all we just did to not be the one. You're right though, because we have not put eyes on it. This will be the first time we've seen it. So yeah, why wouldn't we be nervous?
I mean, we've looked at it on the internet and all the pictures and did all the research.
Yeah.
But we might get there and be like, oh.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking this was never on my someday I hope to own a big semi list. This is never on my list.
Wasn't on my list either. We just bought a truck.
You gotta get all your stuff because you're driving that thing.
Sheila, we just bought a truck.
Yeah, I don't know. That's how I was it.
I don't even know. We just bought a truck. Like I said, that was a really long day. And I thought that day was long until we had another issue. Jesse says, I need the truck here, like whenever you can get it here, because I need at least 2.5 months to get this thing done if you're gonna have it done before the Tampa show. That caused a whirlwind because now from getting the truck to the time we need to get it to Tampa, almost 1.5 months has gone by.
The truck is sitting at our friend Mike's house, and we've got to figure out how to get it to Florida, and I don't even know what state we're in at this moment.
So we made it to Kansas City, but it was the whirlwind. It was the holiday weekend, and I left on that Monday.
Oh, yes.
Remember?
Yeah.
So literally we came in, we were here for like maybe 24 hours, 48 hours, and I'm like, okay, Monday morning, I'm getting up, I'm gonna drive this thing down to Tampa, and I'm getting an airline flight back. Now, you thought the long day happened. I've never drove this thing besides driving it from Oklahoma up here. That was 5 hours. Now I'm in it for 22 hours and get to sleep in like truck stops and experience what the trucker life is like. And yeah. Is it as big as you remember?
I think it's bigger than I remember. I'm not quite sure what the heck we're doing.
I don't know. This is like one of those things. We're now, it's September 2nd. So we've come a long ways. We have not finished everything. They have not even pulled steel to start building. So now I'm starting to wonder if we're going to even
get done in time for the Tampa show.
Yeah, it's starting to really now. It's the rubber hits the road, and no pun intended, but this has to go to Tampa area.
Yeah, you need to get it there so that can start doing that work. And then we need to, when you fly back, I'll pick you up, and we need to get over to Spacecraft and check in with them and have a meeting with the team.
So here's the goal here. The goal is I leave on Labor Day. I'm gonna drive basically 2 days, meet Jesse and the team, go over everything, because we really don't even know what this is going to look like back here. Go over their ideas, our ideas, and then you have me booked
flying home Wednesday,
and then we have Spacecraft, a meetup on Saturday,
and then start making our way to Georgia for the huddle.
It's kind of a lot.
Well, and in the meantime, we got to finish the cabinet drawings, the roof drawings. I can't find
the deck, the LED wall.
I can't find the thing I need for the roof in order for us to get up there.
Oh, the hatch.
Yes.
Just to even get on the roof has become a hassle. Just like that, away we go. All right, home sweet home. See, I've got my bed.
Went to Subway and got some food. I gotta fire up the auxiliary power unit so I can have AC. Soon I'll have a microwave, which would be great, and a TV, refrigerator, keep everything cold. Long day, 12 hours. Tomorrow I've got 9 more hours to go. This will be my first night sleeping in here, which should be an interesting experience. I never know. I don't know. I can shut these curtains. So I shut the side curtains, and then you can shut these. These are actually like blackout curtains. So have a little privacy, I guess. Who said life wasn't an adventure? I'm up. My hair needs a little adjusting. I need to go in. Changed. Refreshened. Contacts back in. Eating my glazed donut stick. I'm just sitting here. It's very surreal. Like, this whole journey is it's weird because, like, nobody knows what's going on right now. I mean, you're watching, but I never once thought in life we would be right where we're at. Driving a semi down to Tampa, building an RV, having this amazing community of people gathered around us, the impact, the reach. It's very humbling. It's so weird because by the time you might be watching this, you've seen the completed project, seen it all come together, what it looks like. And I have absolutely no clue what the next few months hold. What an interesting perspective. One, as a viewer, seeing something completed and watching the process. And two, as the person creating all the weird stuff, not having any idea what's getting ready to happen, and feeling like all the feelings of, is this the right decisions? This is weird. This is crazy. Well, it's kind of lonely out here because Sheila had to stay back. I don't know. I've only met Jesse once. I don't even know what he's gonna say. Like, I don't know. There's so many unknowns. Alright, it's like 5:30 in the morning. I just got woke up by a police officer because up here at this Love's, all the parking's taken because the truckers got off the road early. So there's this dead end road. There's 10 of us on this road. I didn't choose it. I was like, well, if they're all staying here, I'm gonna stay here. So he came banging on the door, waking me up, waking us all up, saying, you either move or I'm towing you. So I have a newfound respect for everything you guys go through. Like, you're tired, you're driving all day, you need to sleep, there's no parking, you do the best you can. I get it now. I mean, yeah. Then, on top of that, it's like you're trying to just find anywhere you have the opportunity. And then you sleep in this bed. Underneath there is the tri-pack system, which is an APU, auxiliary power unit, and it runs like your heating and air AC and everything. And it's 3 to 4 times louder than your normal RV generator, people. So I finally had to turn it off. I just couldn't handle it anymore. I just turned it off because I was like, I can't sleep. So when I finally get to sleep at 3, I'm woke up at 5 by the police officer. Yeah. Brutal night. I have no idea where I'm going, what I'm doing. There is still no parking over here. So, but I gotta move. All right, good morning. I ended up pulling into another spot, sleeping for another hour. Now puts me a little late to meeting Jessie, but that's okay. It's a whirlwind. Everything we do with this thing has been fast-paced behind the scenes. You trying to keep up? Yeah, I totally understand. Me too.
Now, I get it down to Jessie, and I had something planned where I wanted to get this special lift to come on and off the truck. And so I had Don meet me there with a 𝗪𝗏𝗃 and to let Jessie see if this would even work. And so we had this in-depth conversation. And by the time I was done, I was putting a deposit down on that 𝗪𝗏𝗃. The real question is, Jessie, do I write the man a check?
Yeah, it's a good product.
And then I was like, okay, Jessie, thanks, Don. Don's like, I'll have it here in 2 weeks. And then I grab an Uber, head to the airport, and fly back to Kansas City to come meet back up with you so we could actually head to Georgia for the next event.
Yeah. This probably goes down as one of the longest days I've had in a really long time. The alarm went off at about a little over 19 hours ago. It is 10:30, waiting for Todd to arrive. I'll get a good night's sleep, do some errands tomorrow, and then hit the plane and head back so that we can get ready for an event. So, thanks for coming along for the wild ride with us today. We'll see what tomorrow holds.
There's another problem. Frame flex on our current RV, and it's gonna need repairs. This opens up a whole nother thing because now we have everything that's loaded in the RV. We have to now figure out what to do. So we head from our Georgia huddle straight down to Tampa.
Because the things weren't complicated enough. We needed to add one more layer. Best thing to do is get a storage unit.
Yep.
Because then we can unload the stuff that doesn't necessarily need to go to be repaired in Elkhart, and out all the things come.
Out. All the things. The motorcycle, the bikes. And now it's just sitting down there in Tampa because we know that when we take our current RV up to Elkhart, it might not be done in time for the Tampa show, which opens a whole slew. But then we got to go back over to Jessie so then Sheila could hang out and meet Jessie and talk for a little bit and then kind of help come up with additional plans. She has a better mind when it comes to structuring things. So that was actually a really good day.
They're not shocked.
They should be shocked. So about 2.5 weeks ago, dropped her off. We're back to meet Don because we're dropping stuff off and getting a storage unit. So Don, 𝗪𝗏𝗃, dropped off our brand new 𝗪𝗏𝗃 here. She has no idea what I ordered.
Is that it right there?
Yeah, that's it. This is what I got, Sheila.
Okay.
So that'll go off the side of the truck and come out. And then we'll have the motorcycle and the 2 e-bikes sitting there.
So this is one in the back of his. That looks a little big.
Yeah.
Is our truck wide enough?
We don't. Yeah. Well, Jesse's gonna cut this up.
So we're buying a new thing, and Jesse's gonna cut it apart.
Yeah. That's what's gonna happen.
What? A shave? I hear you.
So Todd tells me we buy this new thing, and you're gonna chop it all to pieces.
Yeah.
We're putting a lot of trust in you, aren't we?
You are putting a lot of trust. I'm glad you've seen at least one thing I've done. At least one. Just one. There's 2 though.
That's all it takes.
There's a lot more out there.
Okay,
There's a lot.
all right. I feel a little better.
We work really hard and a lot of stuff comes in, a lot of stuff goes out.
I believe you.
I need 10 foot 3 inches.
We need to go out and measure.
I like the guy that wants to measure.
But he doesn't write anything down, Sheila. He measures and it sticks in his head.
Next week's a new week. We got to measure again.
John, I came back. I'm actually going to pay him
did.
for his delivery.
I wasn't worried about that. I just wanted to make sure it got delivered.
Well, I met Jesse, started looking at what things were, but then he's saying, I'm going to move this back this way and I'm going to extend this. I'm like, you're just breaking the truck in half. I needed to be able to see it. I couldn't visualize what he was talking about. And so he suggested that we maybe check out the HDT rally, which was perfect timing as we were going to be coming across and headed back home. We could just swing up through there and check it out.
Yeah, and that gave us a perfect timing because when you're building the spacecraft and a truck at the exact same time, you have an issue where you have to have them coordinated between the pin, where the pin's going to be on the truck, where the pin's going to be on the spacecraft. There had to be conversation, so we were able to have Jesse meet Greg, and the two of them, you know, talk about all the different things.
There's a lot of details and measurements that go into all of that.
And, you know, it is only like October 12th.
We have 12 weeks. Literally 12 weeks.
12 weeks, lots of questions, no answers. And we just found out today what our sound system's going to be.
We got to make a plan.
And we have to change on our sound system because they're quoting a little bit way over what we were thinking.
It's $5,000 over what we budgeted, so we need to think that through.
Yeah, it's a mess.
I just want to make sure it looks good. Speaking of if it's going to look good, it is now time to start figuring out finishes. Now that all of these things are going forward, the truck's going to be in good hands. But now I've got to do things like, we got to pick out tile, and are we going to do carpet, and all kinds of the finishes.
Paint.
Is what sink do you want to use? What faucet? Like every little
What
decision
couches?
you get to make when you're building it custom. It's all your choice. You can put in whatever you want to put in.
And you drug me to every store on the planet across the United States. And that is no exaggeration.
It is a little bit.
We did have to start thinking of colors as well because we weren't sure if we're wrapping the HDT, not wrapping, painting. So all of that, I have to leave you with where we're at because the HDT isn't done and it's going to be finished. And we'll just have to do a reveal on the HDT when it's done.
Put that at the end, like an extra video.
Yeah, right now we have to fly to Tampa to meet Jesse because there was another issue.
Yeah, we're doing that. Like, we have a plane that leaves tomorrow.
So stay tuned. We hope to get you updated on that. Thanks for tuning in to get to this point. But we're on to finishes and Sheila shopping.
Woohoo!
If you could plan out your ultimate, where would you shop? That's the question we should leave you with.
All the stores.